The relationship between law and death encompasses various legal definitions, rights, and ethical considerations related to mortality, intertwined with psychological concepts that illuminate human behavior in these contexts. This relationship is particularly significant in areas such as physician-assisted suicide, the legal treatment of individuals involved in death, and laws governing the distribution of a deceased person's assets. The legal definition of death is crucial as it influences various rights and responsibilities. In most jurisdictions, legal death is defined as the irreversible cessation of all biological functions that sustain a human being. This typically occurs when a person has been pronounced dead by a medical professional based on the absence of heartbeat and respiration. Brain death, however, is a specific medical condition that differs from legal death. It is defined as the complete and irreversible loss of all brain function, including the brain stem, which controls essential functions such as breathing and heart rate. Unlike being in a coma, a brain-dead individual cannot regain consciousness or have any chance of recovery. A case study that illustrates this distinction is that of a patient in a persistent vegetative state who may exhibit some reflexive responses but lacks consciousness. While brain death would lead to legal death, the presence of brain activity in such patients complicates the determination of death. This complexity can lead to emotional turmoil for families as they grapple with the medical definitions and their implications for end-of-life decisions. Psychological theories, such as Kubler-Ross's stages of grief, provide insight into how individuals and families process the concept of death. This model outlines 5 stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance that individuals may experience when confronted with loss. Understanding these stages highlights the emotional complexities involved in declaring someone legally dead and can affect decisions regarding estate management, funeral arrangements, and the grieving process. The topic of the right to die, particularly concerning physician-assisted suicide, raises significant psychological and ethical considerations. The concept of autonomy refers to an individual's right to make informed decisions about their own life and body, including end-of-life choices. The psychological impact of terminal illness often includes anxiety, characterized by feelings of worry or fear, and depression, marked by persistent sadness and loss of interest. In Oregon, where physician-assisted suicide is legal under the Death with Dignity Act, patients like Brittany Maynard gained national attention when she publicly shared her decision to end her life due to terminal brain cancer. Her story highlighted the psychological relief that some terminally ill patients feel when given the choice to control their end-of-life process, emphasizing the importance of autonomy in such decisions. The phenomenon of suicide tourism, where individuals travel to jurisdictions where physician-assisted suicide is legal, illustrates the psychological desperation some may feel when their autonomy is restricted. This raises ethical questions about the responsibilities of healthcare providers and the psychological well-being of patients making such decisions. The law addresses the actions of individuals involved in the death of others, particularly through various charges like murder, manslaughter, and assisted suicide. Psychological theories, such as social learning theory, suggest that individuals learn behaviors through observation and imitation of others, which can help explain how environmental influences shape attitudes toward violence and death. Consider a case where a young person commits a violent crime after being exposed to aggressive behavior in their home environment. If charged with murder, the court may consider the psychological background of the individual, possibly leading to a lesser charge of manslaughter if it can be shown that their actions were influenced by learned behaviors rather than premeditated intent. Additionally, cognitive dissonance can play a role in cases of assisted suicide, where individuals may struggle with the moral implications of their actions versus their desire to alleviate suffering. This tension can lead to legal and ethical dilemmas for both the person assisting and the person seeking help. When a person dies, the management of their estate involves legal processes governed by probate laws, wills, and trusts. The psychological concept of legacy reflects the idea that individuals seek to leave behind something meaningful that represents their values and memories. Many people find comfort in knowing that their wishes will be respected and that their loved ones will be provided for, which can alleviate anxiety about their mortality. A well-known case is that of Prince, whose unexpected death led to a complex probate process to determine the distribution of his substantial estate. The absence of a will complicated matters, highlighting the importance of having clear legal documents in place. This situation can lead to emotional turmoil among family members as they navigate the grief of loss alongside the stress of legal disputes, underscoring the psychological need for control over one's legacy. Wills are legal documents that outline how a person's assets should be distributed after death, addressing the psychological need for control over one's legacy. Trusts can also be established to manage assets during a person's lifetime and after death, ensuring their wishes are fulfilled. Understanding attachment theory, which posits that emotional bonds formed in early life influence relationships and decisions, can be relevant, as individuals may make decisions regarding asset distribution based on their emotional connections with family members. The relationship between law and death is multifaceted, involving legal definitions, rights related to end-of-life choices, the legal treatment of individuals involved in death, and the management of estates after death. By integrating psychological concepts and specific examples, we gain a deeper understanding of how human behavior and emotional responses intersect with legal frameworks. As societal values evolve, so do the laws governing these critical issues, reflecting ongoing debates about autonomy, morality, and the psychological implications of death.